know the kidney is a retroperitoneal paired organ in the posterior abdominal wall, and at the hilum of the kidney, the artery vein is most anterior, followed by the artery and then the pelvis of the kidney. This is the order: vein, artery, and pelvis at the hilum. And as you knowing, the weight is 150 gram in male and 135 gram in females. Size is around roughly speaking 10 by 6 by 2 centimeter in size. This is the photographic representation here. You can see the kidney are placed over here. You can also appreciate the vein, artery, and ureter. Artery is here. You can see the left vein is small and draining directly into the inferior vena cava, the right one, while the left is longer, coming from here. You can, it's a good photograph. This is crossing here, a big one, getting the gonadal from inferior and suprarenal from superior side. That is the very important fact in the urology and surgery. And another fact you can see here, even you can appreciate here, the ureter is being crossed by the gonadal here, and itself crossing the bifurcation at the common iliaca. When the common iliaca is divided into two parts, it being crossed by the ureter here. Very beautifully outlined in this diagram. You should always remember it. So the kidney is divided into cortex and medulla, and then the medulla is converted into renal pyramid. I will show the diagram. This is again the same pattern: the vein, artery, and the ureter. And this is the posterior part. Pelvis is visualized posteriorly, and here you can see this is cortex. This is cortex, and these are the minor calyx. These are the calyx and major calyx here, and you can see here the renal pyramid. This is the pyramid, which convert at the apex. This is called papilla. Papillae get entered into the minor calyx. This is how they are arranged. And regarding covering, there are four fascial layers: the capsule, the perinephric fat, geruta fascia, and the paranephric fat. Better outline here. You can see that this is cortex and this is medulla. Cortex and medulla are insinuating between. You can see here, this is the part where the cortex is going in, and this is the part the medulla is going inside the cortex. So this is a unique anatomy, different than the gland like suprarenal gland, where the cortex and medulla, they are quite separated. In kidney, the cortex and medulla, they are intertangles, penetrating into each other. Okay, and coming here, regarding covering, the kidney capsule is being surrounded by the perinephric fat, followed by the geruta fascia. This is renal fascia. Then there is the paranephric fat. These are the distinct layer of the fat. Okay, and as you know, the kidney is getting 20% of the cardiac output, and the renal arteries are located at lumbar 2 vertebra. The first branch of the renal artery is the inferior suprarenal artery, then divide into 5 segmental arteries, which again divide into anterior and posterior branch. The posterior segmental artery supplying the most of the posterior kidney. The renal vein, as I already told you, the renal vein drains the kidney. The left renal vein is longer, and it is being associated with the left gonadal vein and left suprarenal vein, as I already shown you in the photograph. The posteriorly, the lumbar vein also there. You should know the ureter is 25 centimeter long, and you must be knowing 25 is a magic figure in the surgery. The thyroid are 25 grams. The prostate is again 25 grams. The ureter is 25 centimeter long. So please remember this magic figure in surgery. Okay. And as you know, the ureter got different part. It have got abdominal, pelvis, and the vesical part. And I said earlier, ureter is crossed by the gonadal vessel, but itself crossing the bifurcation of the common iliac artery. Now, with this brief introduction, which is coming back to trauma, the 80% of the renal trauma are blunt, mostly happening in the car accident, sports, the fall from height, and while the remaining 20% are the penetrating, like gunshot and stabbing. Patient can present the history of trauma, yes, shock, skin bruises, there are bruises over the renal area, the direct trauma, and the flank pain and hematuria. Hematuria is a cardinal feature usually, but it may absent in 20 to 25% of patients. And there are three important reasons that the renal trauma is not communicating with the pelvis, or there may be avulsion of the pedicle, or there may be PUJ avulsion, another reason, or blood clot obstructing the ureter. This is the American Association of Surgery classification. The 5 grades are here. Grade 1 is contusion, hematuria, a small non-expanding subcapsular hematoma, while grade 2 is again with hematoma, perirenal hematoma, which is confined to the renal tissue only, not expanding beyond. Or there will be laceration which is less than 1 centimeter in size. While in grade 3 there is laceration which is more than 1 centimeter. As you know, the cortex size is around 2 to 3 centimeter. So this is something in between. Okay, the laceration is more than 1 centimeter but not reaching at the collecting system. While in grade 4 the laceration which is more than 1 centimeter, like around 3 centimeter, which is communicating with the renal collecting system. This is very important. Grade 4 injury, collecting system is communicating. Okay, or there may be the main vascular injury. Grade 5 means complete shattered kidney, or there is avulsion of renal hilum. Okay. This is regarding the 5 stages of renal trauma. Again, diagrammatic representation here. You can see here there is small subcapsular hematoma. Here is hematoma or less than 1 centimeter laceration. In grade 3, there is laceration which is more than 1 centimeter but not communicating here to the collecting system. It's still apart. While in grade 4, as I said earlier, big hematoma communicating with the collecting system, usually associated with a severe hematuria. And while in grade 5, you can see the shattered kidney divided into pieces, or there may be ureteric avulsion, or there may be the renal vascular avulsion or trauma. So how to manage? The initial management is same like ABC, and then you have to do the primary survey and secondary survey. And for the assessment of the patient, we have to see if the patient is otherwise okay and sustain the kidney hemodynamically stable and sustain only the renal injury, then probably the single shot IVP, the single shot IVP is important to assess, and we should take X-ray about 10 minutes after the you should take X-ray immediately after the IV contrast injection, and then then you have to follow accordingly. And the ultrasound can be done to assist the hematoma and expansion, but the best test is you should do the CT scan with contrast. But this is one of the ideal investigation to assess if the patient is otherwise okay. It will accurately diagnose and properly stage the disease also. If the patient is stable, then you have to confine to the non-operative treatment. That includes the stick bed rest, the hydration, antibiotics, continuous imaging, and the monitoring of vital sign. The bed rest and the serial urinary sampling for hematuria to decrease the hematuria is a very important tool in this way. The indication of surgery is a patient who is hemodynamically unstable, and you are exploring from associated injury like splenic injury, liver injury or something like that, or expanding hematoma. These are the various indications for surgical exploration. This is the flow chart. If the patient is hemodynamically unstable, you have to immediately laparotomy, and if you find the pulsatile hematoma, you have to do exploration and possible plus minus nephrectomy. And these investigations are always there with the hemodynamically stable patient. when you do the contrast enhanced CT scan, and then grade the disease properly, and then plan accordingly. If it is the grade 1 to 3, then probably best to wait and see non-operative treatment. If it is a grade 5 or 4 injury, then there is a role of the possible embolization, angioembolization, or plus minus exploration. This is how you explore the kidney. First of all, you have to get a vascular control here. You can see the exploration steps, and artery control is there. This is very important, because during any time you have to clamp the artery and plan accordingly. There are various complications, like early complications include bleeding, infection, abscess formation, fistula, urinoma. Late complications are hydronephrosis, chronic pyelonephritis, and hypertension. The stone formation, arteriovenous fistula, and pseudoaneurysm. This is now we should start with the ureteric injuries, and you know that these are the various injuries which involve the ureter, like the gunshot, stab, avulsion, and the gynecological. Gynecological injuries are very important nowadays. We have to investigate, like with IVU, CT scan, retrograde urogram, and antegrade urogram. Again, the American Association of the Surgery trauma scoring of ureteric trauma. Grade 1 is contusion, grade 2 is hematoma without devascularization. Grade 2 injury is laceration, which involve the transection of the less than 50%, while grade 3 which involve the transection more than 50%. And the grade 4 is a laceration with 2 centimeter devascularization, less than 2 centimeter devascularization, while grade 5 is laceration with more than 2 centimeter devascularization. Now you can see here the patient who has sustained the trauma, IVP being done. Over the left you can see well outlined ureter, but over the right side you can appreciate there are a lot of extravasation over here. Yes, and the distal ureter is not identified here. You can also appreciate another important finding here in this IVP. So treatment depends upon the lesion, where is the trauma. If it is below iliac artery, iliac vessel, then probably the ureteric reimplantation into bladder is one of the important part. If it is above the iliac vessel, then you can do the different treatment option, like end-to-end anastomosis, transureteroureterostomy, ileal interposition, or the autotransplantation. You can appreciate here this is the type of the uterine injury. You have to spatulate it. That means cut obliquely like that, like you cut it here like that. Oblique cutting will maintain the patency and minimize the chances of the stricture ureter. So you can see obliquely cut 2 strictures, and this is being repaired by the interpret strictures. This is the transureteroureterostomy. You can see here this is the injured ureter which has been freshened up, and this is a normal ureter where this is placed. So this is into side anastomosis of ureteroureterostomy. This is normal ureter, and this is a disease, this traumatic kidney ureter, which has been implanted to the opposite side. So the iliac replacement means the part of the ilia was taken with the intact blood supply, and it is placed as a part of the replacement. Auto transplantation means the kidney has been brought down here near the bladder and place it here like that, So iatrogenic ureteric injury are one of the important portion of the ureteric injury. If you find it early, and mostly seen by the gynecologist, sometimes by general surgeon, urologist also. And here you have to do the if it is diagnosed early, exploration and ureteric anastomosis. If it is coming late after a week or 2 weeks, then probably better to do the percutaneous nephrostomy and then work it out and plan accordingly. So a bit about the bladder injuries. You can see different causes of the bladder injuries: the gunshot, stab wound, gynecological, blunt trauma, blow, fracture pelvis, and fall from height. They divide into intraperitoneal and extraperitoneal. Sometimes they combine intra and extraperitoneal. So again, like the other parts, you can have the hematoma, the American Association classification of surgery. The grade 1 is hematoma and laceration, partial thickness laceration. Grade 2 is laceration, which is extraperitoneal laceration, and the grade 3 is the both extraperitoneal 2 centimeter and intraperitoneal less than 2 centimeter. And grade 4 is complete laceration, which is more than 2 centimeter, and grade 5 is laceration, which is entering into the bladder neck and ureteric orifice or trigone. This is the most severe form of the bladder injury. This is one of the retrograde film here. The dye contrast injected here in cystogram, and you can see the sunburst appearance. The dye is extravasating all over the bladder. Okay, this is called sunburst appearance. Okay, because from here it will go like a sun rays, all over the pelvis, all over the abdomen rather. So this is another example of extraperitoneal rupture. This is the bladder. This is Foley catheter here. You can see here when you inject the contrast here, the contrast leak here, and this is called flame-shaped leakage of the contrast on the side of the bladder. And the bladder is being compressed by this hematoma, leading to what is called teardrop deformity. Regarding management, of the extraperitoneal bladder rupture should be managed conservatively by the catheter placement and observing the patient, and you may have to opt another option like the surgical repair. The indication of such surgery in the extraperitoneal rupture are the patient is there in the OT and is exposed for some another reason, associated injury like rectal perforation, pelvic fracture, or the bone fragment is projecting into bladder, which is sometimes difficult to heal. And then the multiple large rupture should be repaired. The intraperitoneal rupture should be dealt early repair, because it is usually end up with the peritonitis. So we have urinary peritonitis is a serious form of the peritonitis. You have to do early surgical repair with the midline laparotomy. You have to open up the bladder and they close the bladder injury, and should maintain adequate bladder drainage in Foley catheter or suprapubic catheterization. Don't forget to put perivascular drain also. A bit about the urethral injuries. Okay, so you can see here this is the male urethra. Start from here, from bladder neck. This is the prostatic urethra, around 3 to 4 centimeter in size. This is the bulbar urethra, that is the 1 centimeter in size. Remaining part of the urethra are called as the penile or pendular urethra. This is around 16 centimeter, and this is 1 centimeter. This makes around the 22 centimeter total length of the urethra. Okay. And the posterior urethra and anterior urethra already mentioned to you. The posterior urethra is usually damaged by the fracture pelvis, which is one of the most common association of the blunt trauma pelvis. Sometimes due to the catheter-related trauma, the iatrogenic injury is also there. The anterior urethra is usually damaged by the falling astride or by direct external trauma. Clinically, you may see the patient with the blood at the external urethral meatus, urinary retention, the hematuria, and the swelling in the perineum, penis, or scrotum. This is the Goldman classification. You have to concentrate different type of the classification over here. The Goldman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to review very carefully on this kind of these injuries. Radiologically, when you suspect the urethral injury, please don't catheterize. Don't catheterize. Put a suprapubic catheter if possible, and do the best thing is to do the ascending urethrogram. This is how the ascending urethra come. You inject the dye here, and you can see a lot of extravasation here. This is the combination of ascending and descending ureterogram. I think probably the patient had suprapubic catheterization. This is the result of the injury which happened long time back. This in the form of the structure. This is the structure, and this is the delayed film, not the acute film. This is the film taken after a few months, and probably somebody is planning for the repair of the stricture urethra. Posterior urethral injury should be dealt with, as I said earlier, suprapubic catheter is one, and you should plan for a delayed surgical correction. And this is around 2 to 3 months, minimum 2 to 3 months after the injury. And because if you try to operate early, then you are likely to damage the sphincter, damage the nerve, which will end up with an impotency, and you will further restricting rather than you are not helping the patient, but rather you are causing more tissue trauma and damage. Again, the anterior urethral injuries include suprapubic catheterization, then followed by the ureterogram on 3 to 6 feet, and then again the delayed repair is better than the early repair. But sometimes you have to do early repair. The indication of the fractured penis, or you got the associated injury to this area, benign injury, then you find the anterior urethral injury, you may try for early repair. So this is a view. This is the outcome of the injury. As you can see here, urethral stricture is here, and what we are doing is the visual internal ureterotomy, and this is also called as the optical internal ureterotomy. And this is how you operate after 3-4 months. And this is the structural urethra here, and you remove that part, spatulate this part, and do the repair. End up with a patent, nicely patent urethra. Thank you very much.